Hello and welcome. Today on the Woe Factor, we are talking with one of our founding members, Jolie, who is an amazing photographer. And we have had her do some of our events. We've seen so many event photos that you're just so amazing at capturing the moment. And we want to take some time today to highlight you and hear from you what you're working on, some of your passions, and of course, how people can work with you. So I'm your host, Izzy Nalley. I'm one of the co-founders of the WOW Network. And we are here to connect women and really focus on that collaboration over competition. Jolie, tell us, how did you get started in photography?
Well, I have been always interested in art. I've always been an artistic person, even as a little kid. And unfortunately, I cannot draw, I cannot paint, I can't do any of those skills. But in college, I majored in art. I have a BA in art photography. And I discovered photography, and I'm like, oh, those images I have in my mind, I can actually make them appear. So I learned light technique and color and just really how to get those images in my head and how I see the world actually out so other people can see what I was seeing. So I pursued a career in photography. Always been very interested in people. I have a second degree in communications with a concentration in journalism. So I thought at some point maybe I could be a travel National Geographic photographer.
That would be cool.
Yeah, no, I would have loved that. But I started my own business and I started working with people, doing portraits, working with local magazines, just doing different assignments. And I found that I really loved the variety. I discovered a passion for food photography
Yes.
as well as people photography. So I do both of those things quite often.
Yeah, and you were showing me some of your pictures of food photography just a bit before we got on, and it's amazing. I've explored that realm before, and
Hmm.
it is actually really tricky to photograph food. So
Yeah, it
I
can
think
be.
that's amazing that you do that. And tell us, like, when you get into food and food photography, like, what led you to that? Was it just a love of food, or did something happen that led you there?
Yeah, no, both. I love food and I love art, and I work closely. It was through internships and working with magazines, and again a variety of assignments from I've taken pictures of Tattoo Charlie and his parrot before, and then the next day I might be taking pictures of dentists, and then the next day it might be a carnival. So definitely a lot of variety in my portfolio. I've been doing this for 25 years, so I've got a lot of different things. But
That's bound to give you some variety.
yeah, yeah. Food photography in particular. I was doing this. I actually did photography before digital was a thing. So I've worked in dark rooms, which really forces you to get it right in camera, get it right on a snap, really look at light instead of just like click, 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 click. Oh, okay, let's change these 8 things. Click. I look at the subject and not just at my camera, so I can really see what's going on there. And food photography in particular, because Louisville has such a huge foodie scene, and we always have very talented chefs. Uh, I work with them a lot, and they really create art on
Yeah.
their own. And it's just a matter of knowing how to light that, and paying attention to your background, knowing things that aren't going to be too busy or things that are going to complement it. It would be the same with any type of photography. If you're taking pictures of people, you don't want a telephone pole coming out of their head. So you've got to. There's a lot going on that you just kind of like train yourself to instantly see.
That's
And
amazing.
yeah, and so food photography I've always loved, and I like working with chefs. I like doing their menus. I like doing their pictures of their interiors because I do a lot of architectural photography as well. And then I get to take pictures of them. So there's where the portrait part of it comes in. So,
I love that. It's like full service business,
mhm,
especially in the restaurant industry.
yeah.
And I agree. Like when I see a menu, especially if I go to a restaurant that I'm unfamiliar with,
Mhm.
those photos really do help me choose. And it
Oh,
might
yeah.
even help me choose going to the restaurant in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a huge thing. And, uh, my husband and I, we eat out a lot and we travel a lot, and if it's an unfamiliar menu, even if it's maybe, uh, like Mexican or Italian or Ethiopian, like sometimes Indian, you don't even know what those things are. So pictures help. They really do. Like, if you see a picture of this fish sounds delicious, and in the picture it's a full fish. It has a head and a tail and eyeballs and stuff. You might not be into that. So you
Or
skip that
even little things like I went to a restaurant and it said chicken salad. And being
one.
from Kentucky, I thought it was chicken salad. But when I got it, it was salad with chicken on top.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
like,
the wording's tricky.
definitely helped that.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Uh, and I've helped restaurants do like full service where I do come in, help them with some social media, get pictures of their dishes, pictures of their staff, pictures of their interior and exterior, but also put together maybe some like tabletop, because I do a little bit of graphic design, um, some tabletop things. So if they have specials, or a lot of the local chefs will also do seasonal menus. So it
Mhm.
changes, with whatever's going to be fresh and in season. So I'll do contracts with them where I come, 2 or 3 times a year, and kind of, because then it's all fresh stuff. They've got new things like, hey, we just came out. This is the new fall menu. And they can share these pictures on social media, and it really gets people's interest because, you've been eating salads all summer. Then all of a sudden, people are like starting to roll out the like chicken pot pies, and you're like, oh yeah. So,
I completely agree. Being in marketing myself,
mhm.
yes, like people need to get those stimulating photos to come across so
Yeah,
that they're like, oh, maybe we need to go out to eat tonight, or we're going to
yeah,
go do that on date night. And really facilitating that communication, like coming back to this communication degree, the photos really are communicating what the restaurant
right,
has to the public as well.
right. And a lot of us will have our favorite restaurants, and we kind of forget about them sometimes. I mean, everybody's had that instance of just like, what do you want to eat tonight? I don't know. What sounds good? I don't know. But like maybe you're scrolling through Facebook, and uh, like Muscle and Burger has this amazing new burger out, and they show a picture of it. You're like, I haven't had a good burger in a long time. So it really helps. I mean, with food, image really, really sells it, because you've definitely been to, like a Chinese or Mexican restaurant where somebody took it with their cell phone or something, and you're just like, I know this food is good, but man, that looks horrible. So,
Yes. Like I said, taking photos of food really is an art. There's a lot of newer restaurants that do position their food for the Instagram worthy photos.
yeah.
But for the average restaurant, I always preach like to stay in your lane. So,
Mm,
if you're going to be a chef or a business owner,
they put
allow
a lot
yourself
of
to
time.
fully be that.
Right.
There is such a difference between having a professional and having an amateur, whether it be
Hmm.
someone who's in school to take photography. That can be a great opportunity. But I will definitely say when I take photos at our events versus when you do, I can
Well,
tell a huge difference.
thank you. And it's I love doing events. And all of that kind of started. I've done a lot of weddings. I really enjoy weddings. And I always say if you can do weddings and do them well, then you can do almost everything, because it's an event. So
It is.
obviously you can shoot events. There's fashion, there's portraiture, there's food photography, and getting all the details and all those things. But yeah, events are fun because I've done everything from black tie galas to ribbon cuttings to birthday parties. So it's a lot of fun.
It is. And, to keep in mind, I think for so many business owners, I'd love to shout out this for you that the ribbon cuttings,
Mm-hmm.
the events that you're hosting, anything where you're at and having professional photos of that is another PR opportunity. It
Oh,
is the ability to, right, to market all that work you just put into something, and to utilize that and then to share those photos as well.
absolutely.
Um,
Yeah, it's great to share with their clients who, usually attend those sorts of things. But also, sometimes people are like, oh, well, the courier's coming, or, one of our local publications are coming. So they'll just get it. They're not going to give you those photos. Those photos belong to them. And if you want them, you're going to be paying anyway, except you're not going to be having your own photographer there telling your photographer what you want pictures of.
a great
So
point.
yeah, you definitely, if it's important enough and you've got that, budget where you've hired caterers and, DJs and all kinds of florists,
Mhm.
nobody's going to remember it without the photos though. You might be like, oh yeah, I remember that opening. It was kind of fun. But going back and seeing the pictures, and you're going to have dignitaries there. The mayor shows up at a lot of these things. That is your uh, image that you can
Yeah.
use for all your social media. You can send your pictures to the press, and that way you're not just
Mm.
kind of like at the mercy of whatever they decide to post. So
That's such a great point. And another thought that came up too is, if you are hosting this big event and you plan to do it the next year, like taking those photos is
absolutely.
your marketing for next year's
Hmm.
event as well.
Yeah.
They come in so much handy, and it's the things that you're not going to think of is when you're going to need them.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times people even just use them for logistics, like how did we set up the chairs last year? What color were the flowers? All kinds of stuff like that. So
That's fantastic. Now, you take photos here locally in Louisville, but do you travel out, and like what does that look like?
yeah, I've done several usually for weddings. Sometimes headshots for big companies. Uh, I've had companies send me to multiple satellite offices for headshots. They want everything to look professional. They want it to look similar. Kind of. You hire photographers from different places. People are going to have different lighting setups, different styles, different backgrounds. Even if you just say gray, how many hues of gray are there? So it really is, if you're wanting the synergy, if your website and your brand, having the same photographer do those photos is important. So I've traveled quite a bit. I've traveled for events where they've come to Louisville and did a trade show and they just liked me. And again, they wanted that synergy and they knew that they had somebody who, was showing up, who did a good job, who, turned things in when they needed them. Uh, so yeah, I've been California, Washington, I've been everywhere. And for weddings too, I just Sunday night did a wedding in Cincinnati at the aquarium.
Oh, that would be a fun wedding.
It was very fun. It was close to the public, and there were only 20 of us there in the whole building. So it was quiet and cool, and it was nighttime. So they had like different animals were coming out than would normally come out during the day. So we've got, bride and groom kissing because they just got married, and there's a sea turtle just like floating by. It's just, he was posing for us. He was doing a good job.
That's so amazing. And speaking of like locations too, I know at one point I had asked you, like we were planning an event, and
Mm,
you had access to so many different events over Louisville that you were able to really clearly and quickly go this week, this week, this week, or normally those events. Here's a good
right.
week for events. So there's like that added benefit of working with you, or
Oh, thank
planning
you.
an event as well.
Yeah, I think if I wanted to go in a different direction, I could definitely do event planning. Just I'm very close with many, many vendors after so many years of working in the city and working in the industry. Um,
And,
but
and I think that's important to mention because if you're planning an event and you know you need a photographer to lean into that additional resource and knowing what all is available,
yeah,
that comes with the package of experience, which is not underrated.
yeah, no, I'm always happy to help a client, find a DJ, find a florist or a caterer. Usually, by the time they've called me, they've already kind of got maybe a location or a date in mind. Um, and then you work with them. I think most people, all the events in town that are usually annual, they've kind of got their stuff figured out. Um, everybody wants to do stuff on Labor Day, Memorial Day, Derby. Derby's just makes your head spin, but it's just the nature of everything.
Agreed. And I love like you I think it's so pinpointed your style and what I've witnessed as well as you're like, I could go travel with National Geographic. I love seeing your photos of like people in their natural habitats. I think that really captures so much more and it
Mhm.
really tells a story with the photo rather than
Yeah,
the office portrait.
right. Well, and that's something else I studied and was very interested in. Um, I do like more like I like social portraits, and it's so funny because nowadays everybody's like, oh, it's branding. Like this buzzword happens. Like no, that's been going on for a while. Like environmental portraiture has been a thing for as long as photography. You get somebody's a shoemaker. You don't just take their picture in front of some like random office. You get them in their environment making the shoes. That's kind of a good segue into the senior portraits that I like to do. And again, it's not just okay, let's go out to a field and get you on a fence and let's like randomly have a barn behind you because you've lived in the city your entire life, so that makes sense. Not that those aren't pretty, but I'm just saying like get some more personality. Like if I like talking with my seniors, I help them pick out clothing and kind of help their parents as well. Like, where are you going to put these pictures? Do you need help getting an idea of like how big of a frame you need? And doing an album. I've got like some of my little albums here. But instead of just like, it's not just going to put on Facebook and forget it. No, have it around. But back to their personalities, like, if they're into sports, I've done stuff with divers where we've gone to pools and gotten some really incredible shots. Um, musicians taking their instruments out in different places and getting some cool pictures. Some kids are really into cars, so, posing with cars. Had one kid that had this, like, I can't even guess how much money was invested in this, but he was really into shoes. He was into sneakers. So he's got pictures of him with all these shoes all around his head, him like wearing the shoes and these cool poses, and they love them because it's not just like I'm 50 now. I just turned 50, and our senior pictures were just you get this gray background and that's it. There's just so much more personality in it, and I love it.
I agree. I think I was a little bit of the oddball, and I had a friend whose father was a photographer, and we did like this like cool photo shoot thing. But
Awesome.
I think it's great to not only customize it to them, but
Hmm.
to bring in that level of confidence and knowing themselves. And there's a whole
Right.
learning experience there for them as well when that's
Yeah. And a lot of the girls, like some of my packages, like we can bring in hair and makeup to kind of help them feel pretty. And like I said, have like a whole, like, bring multiple choices of clothing we can mix and match and be like, okay, well, you've got this pink outfit. This is going to look really cool against this red wall over here. So we'll save that one since right now we're doing, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
uh, and I think my like art background definitely helps see that as well. So I feel kind of trained to instantly know like kind of what color patterns are going to go well together, things like that.
And it does. It makes that photo pop so much
Mm-hmm.
more. It's more eye catching. And it's expressive, right? Like there's a
Yeah.
whole color branding psychology behind all
Mm-hmm.
of this. So diving
Absolutely.
into some of those things that you've learned, it's more than just, oh, blue goes good with orange. Like there's a lot more to it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you look at everything. So, um, I really enjoy doing those, and the same with families. I like to help them. So many families kind of go to like I don't know like LL Beam or whatever. It's usually the mom having to do all this stuff, right? And they're just like, okay, we're all gonna wear
Matching up.
black t-shirts and jeans, and I'm like, you're gonna look like waiters, like no, let's get in the same color palette, but don't look the same. And don't, you're going to be in polka dots and you're going to be in yellow stripes and then you're going to have paisley. Like, calm it down a little bit.
I love that you said that because there's so much more of this like fashion and personality, but it still
Mm-hmm.
all looks like a beautiful composition. But it
Mm-hmm.
looks so much more like professionally natural
Right.
versus, yes, I have seen those photos where they all are wearing the same exact thing, and no shame if people like that, but
Yeah, I mean, people like that aesthetic, and I think it works kind of like on the beach or whatever. But I'm sure I know that there's websites dedicated to the whole like family photo fail kind of thing. Like everybody's sitting on a tree limb, like wearing the same clothes. And
I'm like, now we all need to go. We're all gonna go watch or go look
oh,
at the family
yeah,
photos.
they're funny. And I'm definitely like I've got some outtakes from family photos, or just I have this dad holding the baby up and it's just so cute, and the baby just straight up pukes right on the dad's face, and I've got it mid-air, and I'm like, this should be the cover.
Yep.
Or like if doing a big bridal party and they just could not get the kids to stop crying, so I'm just like, all right, everybody start crying. So I've got this great picture of the entire bridal party, just like,
Those
and the
are
kids are
great.
just like, they
We
stopped crying.
did we did photos with Santa, and we had so my
Mm-hmm.
daughter and her cousin, who is also a girl, are 2 weeks apart, and
Oh
they're
wow.
both at the same preschool. So we had them both sitting on Santa's lap, and they're both just melting, and it is
Yeah,
hilarious. I was like, yes, print it, frame it. I love it.
absolutely. Those are fun, but I do feel the parents' pressure. It's like, okay, let's all just calm down. And I'm usually a pretty laid back person,
You
and I think it helps other people kind of calm down, because you again usually have these moms that are like very stressed out. They've been trying to get
yes,
the kids' schedules to work and all the clothes together and everybody together. And one kid who they just swear is always smiling will not smile for any reason at all. And you just give it a minute. But what you can't do is like be like, smile, come on out, and you just see like the mom's kind of like stressing out. It's like, no, just give them a minute. This is a
they're, the kids vibe off of mom, and if mom is
yeah,
stressed, yes,
oh,
I love that
absolutely.
you do that anchor. Yeah.
Yeah. And also my studio is out of my home. Of course, I do a lot of location stuff. And it's not as it feels homey, as opposed to what's the word I'm looking for? Just sterile. Some studios, and I've had studios like this where it's just white, 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 and then you've got all this scary equipment everywhere and wires. And if you've got young kids, that kind of freaks them out a little bit because they don't know. They might be associating that with like doctor's visits, or
Mm.
because all the attention's on them, and so I think where you take them to, if you've got younger kids, it helps them calm down.
That's amazing. I love that you put so much thought into the process of not just the photo itself, but really honoring the people that are in the
Yeah,
process to
yeah.
showcase again. You are so like calm and grounded and
Aw.
intuitive, just present. And I think that's something that the person being photoed really appreciates.
Yeah, I hope so. And you'll notice, or I notice, that the best pictures are usually toward the end of the session,
Mm.
when even if it's an adult, they're getting headshots for their company. Like, almost everybody sits down like, I hate photos, I hate getting my photo taken. And by the end of it, you've got them smiling, they're more relaxed, they know the camera's not going to bite them. It's just we have fun. And then the last, like, 20 or so photos are a huge standout from the very beginning, where it was very stiff and kind of, like, because people kind of get inside their own heads a little too much, and they're just like, what do I do with my eyebrow? Is my nose being weird? And you're just like, you have a face. It is a normal face. We are all good. So by the end of it, they've kind of forgotten to get, they've gotten outside of their head. They're not as worried about it. They're not as nervous, and it shows. It really does.
My little one's yelling.
I heard her.
Yeah. So tell us, how does someone get in contact with you if they would like to book an appointment?
Well, they can call me. I would love for people to go to my website and check out my work, which is, do I say it now? Is it going to be
You can
posted?
say it now. We also have it listed in the notes, but go ahead and let us know.
Yeah, so it's Creative Photography LLC is my website. And Creative Photography is the name of my company, but I am Jolea Brown. And it is my phone number if you'd like to reach out. Or, feel free. My email address is also on my website and stuff. That's a great way to kind of banter back and forth if you have any questions. But you can call me at 502-777-0426. Hi. She's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Hi.
This is Willow, my little assistant.
Willow, she's on it.
She is. She loves meeting people.
I
She's going to give you a kiss.
And to bring her to some of the meetings and stuff.
I will. Well, thank you, Jolea, so much for sharing.
Thank
and
you.
I really do encourage everyone to go check out those photos and see if Jolea might be a great fit for you.
Yeah, I would love to meet people, even just to go to coffee and learn what everybody else does in the network too. I've got, I think, 3 1-to-1s this week with different people. Just to meet up and have some fun.
Right? You never know when two people can make a connection, a collaboration, or just hanging out and getting to know each other, because we're all humans, right?
Yeah, I mean, people are so interesting. I'm actually meeting with a belly dancer tomorrow, and we're going to talk about doing some drone videos of some of her stuff.
Oh, that would be awesome. Fantastic. All right. Well, you've got the website and you have the phone number. Feel free to comment below as well. You can tag Jolea and have coffee, have a Zoom chat, or see if she might be a great fit for your next photography needs.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.